the you of tomorrow is watching. And what I mean by that is, as often as we analyze our past, we fail to realize how much, we could do to avoid that. We could do to avoid that somewhat shame or discomfort we feel for ourselves in the day to day. And I think it really just starts with doing everything you can now. Doing what you can with what you have. Realizing that, tomorrow's not promised. The next day, the next successive day is not promised. All that you have to work with right now is what's in front of you and is you. So it's very important to sort of realize how these things accumulate, how these things add to each other. Because it's not just a one, instantiation of you trying to grow that's going to make you grow. Or you trying to achieve a goal, you doing one step is not going to get you to your goal every time. What I realize is, achieving your goal is really about, progressive realization. It's about holding your goal positively in your heart and treating it as if it's already here now. Being grateful for it regardless of where it is in terms of, the chronological. So it's just about being present. and it always is about being present. And saying that the you of tomorrow is watching, I'm saying that in the same way I'm watching my actions that I took yesterday. And I'm like, oh, well, I could have done this. I could have done that. I feel like I wasn't productive. I feel like I wasn't present. It's just about realizing that you might have that propensity tomorrow. So it's about doing the things you need to do today. Realizing that they accumulate. It's about the law of accumulation. It's saying that each successive action, everything that we do, it contributes to something, whether that be positive or negative. And I feel like a lot of us instill a lot of negativity into our own lives, whether it be in our inaction or in our analysis of our own action. It's about being positive about both your actions and your instantiations of your actions. It's about being intentional with what you do. Like, some days I don't want to get up, some days I do, But all days, I try to get myself up, regardless of how I feel. Because, sometimes your feelings are going to betray you in regards to your discipline. I think that's just sometimes a fact of it. Sometimes your body's not going to feel like it wants to do something, but you might have to do it, because it's for your betterment and it's for your overall success. Those tiny instantiations and accumulations of you being disciplined are going to overall make you a more disciplined person. It's that realization that you can, that allows you to do more stuff. Once you achieve one goal, once you do one tiny thing every day. And that's why it's really about the 1%. It's not really about being so much better than you were yesterday, but being a little bit better. That's all that matters. Change takes time. Growth takes time. There's too much stress, I feel like, placed on us to be the people we want to be instantaneously. And while that's, in some part achievable, because I feel like there is no past self to overcome and no future self to achieve. You can bring that to you now, but in terms of sometimes how it looks and how it feels, it may take some time to get used to. And I feel like we have to give ourselves grace in regards to that, because it's not always going to be, a linear thing. And growth isn't always linear, and growth isn't always positive. Sometimes you need to bury your roots into something that's sometimes, a little negative in order to get the nutrition to grow upward. Sometimes you got to fall down to get back up, and you always got to pat yourself on the back. To fall down is to realize that you were standing. And I say that not as a reason to fall down and like when you fall down, but a reason to get back up. To know it's humanly possible means you too can do it, and to know you've already done it means you can do it. It's really just about taking the time to be disciplined, making the intention in all your actions, because what I'm coming to realize is they all contribute to each other. It's not just about how one thing contributes to your growth, it's about how all things contribute to your growth. Everything in that sense is something that contributes to you. If you interact with it, if you're within it, if you're within that vicinity, then it's an expression of you. And we have to be very mindful of our own expression and very mindful of what we choose to intake into our own mind, because like I said, in regards to accumulation, negative thoughts add on to each other. And eventually it'll get to a point where it starts to paint your whole character, and that's not good at all. It's about painting your character intentionally with stuff that's positive. Painting your house and renovating your own bricks in a way that you find befitting. Getting rid of the grayscale and making sure the color is your own color. Not to say you can't be influenced, not to say this, not that, but don't be influenced by things that don't serve you. And in my last video, I talked about, learning lessons from other people. And that doesn't necessarily mean listen to everybody, but take what you can from what you get. Sometimes in those conversations and listening to people, it's not necessarily about listening to what they say as it pertains to, life's meaning and your overall purpose. But some of the nuances in what they say and some of the things they say, they give you a broader perspective at which to look at the world. And once you're able to view the world from this broader perspective, you're able to internalize some of the things that you may have overlooked in your own life. Like whether that be people, situations, your childhood, whatever things you have overlooked, yourself, you realize it's here now. And in doing that, you open the door to more growth, you open the door to a better understanding of yourself through other people. Not necessarily yourself as in their perspective of you, but yourself in regards to, you see the world in a different way. Therefore, you must see yourself in a different way. It's like, I forgot the quote. I think it was in Zen in the Art of Archery. But essentially, it talks about how when the man finally masters Zen, whatever, and he was about to go back to the States, his master said to him something like, be careful, because that place is no longer the same as when you were there, and neither are you. I think we need to come to realize that both our environment and us change simultaneously. And it's about being appreciative of both the changes. Changing the external in regards to showing you how intangible life can get. How intangible, somewhat material, somewhat possession can really get. And then ourselves, showing you that we're not restricted by the world's tangibility. The reason we both change is because we have to adapt to each other in a way. And it's about the way you are allowing the world to adapt to you, or you are adapting to the world, whichever one feels better for you. Regardless, it's about, holding yourself accountable. Holding yourself accountable for your own success, and holding yourself accountable for yourself. Saying that you of tomorrow's watching is literally just saying that, you're watching yourself. Your actions are being monitored by your biggest critic, which is yourself. And it's not necessarily just about being your own biggest critic. It's about putting yourself in a position that's going to get you further than you were the day before. And I think realizing that kind of helped me, because, you get to a certain point and you're like, I'm not feeling the change. I'm not feeling these grand instantiations of change, and it's not supposed to be grand all the time. And I think the realization is like, sometimes change will show itself to you externally, and sometimes it's internal growth. And externally, I don't necessarily mean in regards to how I look, but in regards to my expression, because that's why I think it is. It's intentional expression intentional. But it's also about what's in here. It's also about your internal workings and how things work inside your head and inside your body, your spirit, whatever. How things stir you up, how things make you feel. Not necessarily just how you express that, but bottom line, how they make you feel. And it's about your perspective. To alter your perspective is to alter the way you feel, the way you think. Is everything. If you're able to think yourself into a situation where discipline comes second nature and your goal becomes the forefront of your being, not saying that everything else just disappears, but to say that everything else becomes greater. Everything else becomes purposeful. And one of my friends was like, you start to live with a purpose. You come to that realization that it's all in your hands and that you have your own shine. And you realize you must do something with it. You take the space, you might as well use it. And I feel like that's the beauty of consciousness. That's the beauty of perspective. Realizing that what you do contributes to what you do, and who you are contributes to what you do and who you are. It's the way that things relate to themselves that truly make it beautiful. You know, it's not so much, the comparison of itself and some other subject, but itself in itself, the value things have regardless of what they're around. And it's about building your own value to something that shines and emanates positivity, beauty, regardless of what situation you find yourself put in. And I feel like that's entirely the essence of the law of accumulation. Just doing those things that progress towards a greater you until it gets to the point where everything you do becomes something that progresses to a greater you. It's just about being present and intentional enough with that to accumulate, to do those little tiny things every day, to do whatever you need to do in order to get to that point. And I realize it's very difficult. I feel like a lot of the stuff I say to do is somewhat difficult, but it's not that it's difficult, and it's not that I've mastered it. It's just that I think it's important, either to me or to any part of society. Just being there for yourself and being there for others. At the end of the day, it's really just about being present. Present enough to see yourself and present enough to see others and see things for what they are. All in all, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If I'm not doing anything tonight, you will get a stream. I'm very sorry. And in the podcast, I'm planning probably going a live stream podcast over on my other channel, probably. So stay tuned for that. Keep being y'all, keep being great. Life's really beautiful if you take the time to look at it. I know there's stuff going on in the world that's not necessarily beautiful. I'm not saying don't give that stuff your attention, because it definitely does. So, give it your attention, but don't make it you, in a sense. Take it personal, but don't make it you. Be there to support others, in a sense. But make sure you're there to support yourself as well. So, yeah. I don't really have much else for y'all, except, hold on, I just got a message. Anyways, life's great. Life's beautiful. Keep being great. And before I forget to tell y'all, there is one